Welcome back to the channel. Hope you all are having a great day. And let's talk about it. House of the Dragon. This is going to be the best review on YouTube. I'm joking. These guys do such a great job with this show. The content creators, the experts on the Song of Ice and Fire lore, Fire and Blood. Excuse me. These videos are awesome. But I think what I'm going to do in this video, because they've already done such a great job on it, and I'm late, right? Is talk about just how it nailed it, specifically the comparisons to Game of Thrones, specifically how the last few seasons ended, why they went that way, and talk about how House of the Dragon gets everything right, why it gets everything right. And so we're going to focus a little bit more on that. And I will touch on the character some, but it's so many videos that do a great job. This video, want to take a little different path. Let's just bask in the glory of how we're back to must-see television. We once again got a show like that. Just how great it is in comparison to making up for the ending of Game of Thrones, right? So much hard work and so many years and dedication to be just wiped away in a few months. So uh let's get into it. So a lot of people might be confused watching this channel. They're like, hey, what kind of channel is this education? What are you educating us on? And I think in the description I talk about, it's an education of entertainment and finance. There's a variety of things. But if this isn't your cup of tea, this is something I do on very, very special occasion because this is for the elite, right? This is the elite TV watchers and viewers, meaning this. We don't I don't review mediocre television shows. I remember when I pretty much my YouTube channel started with, I would call it mostly intellectual content type television shows, right? Um, and so if people were trying to get me, why don't you do The Walking Dead? Why don't no. This is for the elite and the intellectual heightened, right? And that's not it's not a strike against you all who like popcorn stuff. Like to be scared and with mindless horror. uh it's just for the different, the different audience, right? Different audience. So I don't expect to get a lot of views on my content because it's very specific. So let's get into the technical details of why House of the Dragon gets it right. And I'm just going to make some interesting little statements about how all this could have worked out well in the entire George R. Martin conversion and adaptation from books to television. So, first, uh, House of the Dragon. Who's behind? Who's deeply working with the show in this first season? It is Mr. George R. R. Martin himself, right? Now contrast that to the first few seasons of Game of Thrones, where George would come in and he would write several episodes, right, throughout the seasons. And he did that up until he got too busy. And then we know pretty much after season 4, he's not involved at all. So here's the good thing. This is what I think is going to happen. I don't think George's going to make that mistake again. In fact, I kind of rather him work on a television show, especially a television show like House of the Dragon. I prefer he works on that as opposed to trying to finish like The Winds of Winter and all those things, especially after the television problems with Game of Thrones ended. Dan and Dave really did a whammy on us on that one. So we got that part right. We also got the directors, Miguel. I can't remember his last name, who directed Hard Home. We got those guys back, who are going to do a lot of these episodes. So these are going to be just great, episodes. I wasn't disappointed at all. Everything hit just right. Also, what they're getting correct is the political intrigue, right? So a lot of people, especially, and I'm just going to contrast this a little bit, right? You like the last few seasons of Game of Thrones, you see Dany kind of flying on her dragon. There's a lot more action. You see a lot more money being spent on. You get this like this kind of Walking Dead theme episode, right, with Arya, and then you get it's just a lot of action packed stuff that people. I don't think they really want to see that. I think less. I think in a world like Game of Thrones, I actually think less is better. I think it makes it works better. I would rather see a 5 to 10 minute battle scene than like a 30-40 minute battle scene. All right. Um, because I think really what drew us to Game of Thrones was the drama, right? The political intrigue. That's why we had people like Peter Dinklage, who played this, a dwarf, right? Played the son of Tywin Lannister. Win win an award in a drama series department for a fantasy show, right? He was winning like things that dramatical actors would win, right? In a fantasy, in essentially a fantasy show that where fantasy is more so the backdrop than the actual, you know what I mean? The main focus of the show, right? It's the political intrigue, it's the drama, right? It's the edge of your seat, uh, feeling like you're actually in a real world, even though it's a fantasy world, right? Even though it has dragons and, for lack of a better word, even fairies, right? The children of the forest, which seems like brownies or fairies, right? All condensed into this very serious notion based drama. So here's some interesting things to consider about the series as well, right? So seeing that the problem was the seasons that George R. Martin weren't involved in, right? Um, after season 4 of the original series Game of Thrones, um, wouldn't it have been cool if we'd started with the House of the Dragon? Because this started off really pretty darn well, right? Wouldn't it have been kind of cool if we started off with House of the Dragon and then by the time you get to Game of Thrones, right? We're at the beginning of Game of Thrones, right? Where the source material is still very much relevant because another big issue was that the television show uh, it basically got ahead of the source material, right? So then it's this kind of what can we do? What can we put there? And George R. Martin can't lend anything over. So it would seem the best way to do television adaptations with George R. Martin material is when it's done. When George R. Martin has finished writing the material, like Fire and Blood's already done, right? We're into the when you get to Game of Thrones, obviously you're kind of into like the sequels, right? The events happening after that, all right? So that seemed like that would have been a great idea, right? So uh again, I'm not gonna. I want to point this out. I don't want to spend a lot of time in the episode itself because everybody does such a great job of that. I wanted this to be something that give a more clear insight onto what went wrong with the other season and why I don't think you're gonna have to worry about it in this particular show because I think they're gonna do a good job. I think HBO spend a lot of money. Here's some other interesting stuff. Do you know that HBO spending like this is crazy too, like $16 million per episode, right? So imagine that, $16 million per episode, right? So that's like you're watching like a movie every week, right? This isn't right. The people gonna be acting their guts out, right? This isn't Walking Dead level television, right? This is the real deal, and this is the only kind of content I do on this channel, right? The movie Nope, right? I was so excited to do Nope because you're not gonna get a lot of reviews from me anymore on television shows and movies, only the best of the best. I wanted to do Nope. I saw Nope, and I know I'm going to disappoint people who haven't seen it or saw it. Uh, it it didn't live up to. I was so excited to do it. I did Get Out, like Get Out. I was so excited to do this, but I think Jordan Peele. Whereas it was very interesting. Now, don't get me wrong, but I think what's happening with Jordan now is he's starting to basically get a little bit too intellectual with the material, right? To the point he's maybe in his own head and he's disconnecting from his audience, right? That's just my personal view on it. That he should tone it down a little bit more, put a little bit more of that humor in it, like he did, and I think he does that gradually. But to be catapulted in his first movie so high up like that, I guess it becomes harder to get that part. But anyway, I say all that to say that we're not doing any mediocre content reviews here, because I do other stuff, crypto. I do the crypto stuff. That's most of my focus. Got my own cryptocurrency, which you can get it free. So if you're a Game of Thrones fans, House of the Dragon fan, you can post your ideas or thoughts on the site about it and earn this free cryptocurrency. Nobody else who does reviews offers such a good deal, so you need to be over here. Um, but anyway, yeah, and I mean the acting is great. Viserys, this is the Viserys first of his name, played by Patty. Is it Patty Constantine? Patty? I can't think. He's on Sneaky Blinders. I can't think of some of these people's names. I know Damon was played by Doctor D. He had his former role was on The Crown, where he played Prince Philip, and he actually was the 11th Doctor Who. I had to look again because in most of his previous shows, he's had blonde hair and looked a bit different. But then I said, oh, okay, that was Doctor Who. I remember seeing him play Doctor Who, right? But these guys are just great actors. They're awesome actors. Um, and this is what just makes this show so great. Now, uh, in the next shows, I'm not gonna do show episode by episode, right? Like I said, we got so many people got that covered in great detail. And although I know all the characters, I did read A Song of Ice and Fire. Read many of the books involved. People just do such a great. People got their entire channels dedicated to Game of Thrones, right? So you're gonna get great content there, right? What I want to do is do like wrap ups of a lot of stuff. So instead of going episode by episode, unless it's just a standout great episode, which I don't think, generally you're gonna have the first episode, much like Game of Thrones, be awesome, and then you're gonna have like your kind of pretty darn good episodes in a perfect world. Then by the time you get to the middle of the season, you're gonna have a kind of a rise. Then you're gonna have a little fall off, and then by then you're gonna have your big huge a finale, right? And so I'm not gonna do every episode, but if it's very very compelling and it's very great television, then I will come in as needed. What else do I want to say about House of the Dragon besides it's just being such great television? It's must see TV, right? That's another thing I want to say. I do must see television, which means that what's the difference between must see television and just good television? You know what must see television is? That's when you could be out halfway across the world on the town, and that time comes around. I got to be home at even though I could wait for Game of Thrones, I could record it and watch it when I get home later, stream it. I'm going to basically go watch it now, right at the designated time. That's what if a television show makes you feel like that, and not many. Right now, this is the only one that's done it in a while. What was the last one that I just had to watch? Dog, jeez. I'm gonna tell you. I even been watching the Sandman series. I think it was American Gods that was like really compelling me to watch it. But in the after the first few seasons, it got really really strange and it wasn't good. But I tried the Sandman, written by the same guy. Good writer, good author, but the Sandman isn't to me on the level of must see TV. Like I can miss episodes of The Sandman and be totally fine. But House of the Dragon episode coming up, you pretty much can be sure I will be on that episode. I'm gonna leave you guys pretty much with that. I'm, again, I'm not gonna get deep into detail right now, but I will get a lot more intricate in some upcoming videos. Right. Um, anyway, that's all I want to say. Until next time, as always, take care of yourselves and each other.